There's a notebook on my kitchen table. Ruled paper, the cheap kind, the cover gone soft at the corners from handling. Next to it sits the short end of a pencil, the part most people would have thrown out, and above it, driven into the wall, is an old nail with a month's worth of open bills spiked through it. A nickel notebook and the stub of a pencil. That's the whole tool. And I am going to tell you something that sounds too big for so small a thing, but I have watched it be true for 50 years, so I'll say it plain. That notebook kept more money in a family's pocket, year after year, than any raise the man of the house ever brought home. More than the raise. Sit with that a moment. Now let me tell you what this is not, because that matters just as much. It is not a budgeting program that costs you a fee to be told what you already spent. It is not a drawer full of coupons you'll forget to carry. It is not sitting in the cold with your coat on to save a few cents on the heat. And it is not going without one single thing you actually enjoy. It is one habit, the smallest habit I know, and here it is. You write down every charge that comes back month after month by hand, in one place where your own eyes cannot slide past it. That's it. That's the whole of it. And here is the part that should make the hair stand up on your arm. A bill used to come once on paper, and you saw it, you held it, you decided on it. Now it renews itself in the dark while you sleep, and nobody who sends it has the slightest reason to wake you. Stay with me, because before this is over, I'm going to show you the one column my own grandmother drew on a page like this. A single column, the modern way of doing things hides from you on purpose. And once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. Now let me back up and tell you who's talking, so you know I didn't read this in a book. My name is Yosef Levy. I'm an old man now, and I spent the better part of 50 years behind the counter of a small store on a street where everybody knew everybody, ringing up bread and milk and thread and penny candy, and watching, because behind a counter, if you keep your mouth shut and your eyes open, you watch how money really moves through a family, not how people say it moves, but how it actually goes. And I'll tell you what I learned that surprised me most. The families that drowned were not always the poor ones. I watched men with good wages, steady work, more coming in than half the street, and they were forever short, forever borrowing, forever wearing that tight look around the eyes on the last week of the month. And I watched a widow 2 doors down with almost nothing, with a fixed little check that never grew, pay less for the very same things her neighbors paid more for, and go to bed without that look on her face. For years I couldn't make sense of it. Then I understood. She watched her money and they didn't. We came up in lean years, you understand. I'm old enough that scarcity wasn't a lesson somebody taught me. It was the air. There was a stretch where the next month was already spoken for before it came, where $1 had to do the work of 3, where there was no cushion under you and no one to call if you slipped. And when you live like that, you learn what $1 is actually for, and you learn it in your hands, not your head. We had no auto-pay. We had no apps that paid the bills for you while you weren't looking. We had a notebook and a pencil and the simple, stubborn habit of looking. Now, before I show you the rest, I'll ask you one small thing, and then I'll let it lie. If these old habits are worth something to you, if you'd like to sit with me again while I walk you through another one, then do an old man, a kindness, and subscribe, so the next one finds its way to you. That's all. I won't bring it up again. Subscribe if you mean to come back, and if you don't, no matter, stay right here with me, because what comes next doesn't cost you a dime. Now here is the part most folks get wrong, and if you don't understand this next part, nothing else I tell you will hold, so let me set it down carefully. Most people believe that saving money on their bills means cutting into their comfort. They believe the only way the number goes down is if their life gets smaller, colder, plainer, meaner. So they brace themselves, and they decide it isn't worth it, and they leave the whole thing alone, But here is the truth I watched play out 100 times over that counter. Most of what's heavy in your bills was never your comfort at all. It's creep. It's $1 here and $2 there that climbed onto the bill while you weren't watching, that you never sat down and agreed to, that arrived so slowly and so quietly that there was never a single moment where you'd have said no. You're not overspending. You're being drifted. And drift only works in the dark. The minute you put a number on a page next to last month's number, the drift has nowhere to hide. So here is the habit, step by step, and I'll give you the why under each one, because a habit without its reason won't survive a hard week. First, you take that one notebook, and you give every charge that comes back every month its own line. The light, the heat, the water, the phone, the television. Every little subscription that nibbles at you, one line each, all in one place. Why one place? Because a charge you see alone looks small and reasonable, but a charge you see in a column, in a row with all its brothers, tells the truth about what it adds up to. Second, every month, you write the number down by hand, not glance at it, not let the app whisper it to itself and pay it. You write it with the pencil in your own hand. Why by hand? Because a number you write down you remember, and a number you never see, you never question. And the whole trick of modern billing is to make sure you never quite see it. Third, and this is the one for those of you with a meter on the side of the house, you go out and you read your own meter and you write that down too. Why read your own meter? Because plenty of those bills aren't measured at all. They're estimated, and an estimate has a way of running high and then settling up later in a lump that lands when you least expect it. You read it yourself, and the guessing stops. And fourth, the one my grandmother drew, the column I promised you at the back of that notebook, you make a list of every single thing that renews on its own, and next to each one you write the date it renews, not the price, the date. Why the date? Because here is what nobody teaches anymore. The trap was never the price you agreed to once. The trap is the date you forgot. Now watch what happens when you do this for just 3 months. The first month you've got numbers. The second month you've got numbers to compare. And the third month, something happens that I have seen change people. You catch one. You find a charge that went up, quietly, with no letter and no warning, $3 or $4. And for the first time in your life, you can point at it and say, that went up. When did that go up? Who said, I agreed to that? And you make one phone call. And here's the simple machinery underneath the whole thing. No fancy words for it. A number you write by hand is a number you remember. And a number you remember is a number you can fight. And a number you never see is a gift you give to the company every single month for the rest of your life. That's all it is. Comparison turns invisible into visible, and you cannot argue with a thing you cannot see. Keep that in mind. It matters in a minute. Because now I owe you the answer to the question I planted at the start. If this is so simple, and it kept whole families afloat, why were you never taught it? Why does every bill you've ever had only ever seem to drift up and never down? And I want to answer it honestly, because I won't insult you with a story about villains in a back room. There was no meeting. Nobody schemed against you over a cigar. It's something quieter than that, and quieter is worse, because you can't catch quiet. Here it is. A long time ago, the people who bill you figured out a plain truth. The harder it is for you to notice a price going up, the more times you'll let it go up. So they built the whole thing, every piece of it, to keep that number away from your eyes at the exact moment you might object. Autopay, so you never write the check and feel the size of it. Estimated reads, so the meter is a guess until the day it isn't. Budget billing that smooths the number into a flat line so you never see the season it spiked. Subscriptions that renew on a date you've long forgotten, for a service you stopped using a year ago, and none of it is a crime. That's the thing I need you to understand. It's just incentive. There is no prophet in a family that watches every dollar, and there is no salesman anywhere who has a reason to remind you of a charge you've forgotten you're paying. The cheap old habit, a notebook and your own two eyes, quietly did the job that a dozen expensive conveniences now do badly and on purpose. You didn't lose this knowledge because it stopped working. You lost it because nobody who profits from your forgetting ever had a reason to remind you. Now, let me show you how the widow on my street turned this one little habit into a whole way of running a house. Because a single notebook is good, but a system is what kept her. She had what she called her bill night. 10 minutes, once a month, same evening every month. The notebook open, the pencil out, one page for each thing that bills her. The renewal list at the back, with its dates that she'd run her finger down to see what was coming. And one rule above all the others, the one I told you I'd get to. Every single month, she picked one charge, just one, and she questioned it. One phone call, one letter, one. Why is this what it is, and can it be less? Not all of them, not in a frenzy, not so it ate her evening or her nerves. One, because she understood something most people never do. You don't win this with a heroic month of cutting everything to the bone and then giving up. You win it with one small, boring, repeated motion, the same way water wins against stone. Now here is where I have to be honest with you, even where it costs me, because I would rather you trust me than be impressed by me. There's a myth on our own side of this, among us frugal folks, and I'll name it. The idea that clipping coupons and chasing pennies is the heart of saving money. It isn't. I've watched people spend an hour to save 30 cents on a can of beans, while a subscription they forgot about bled them $10 a month in the next room. That's not thrift. That's a false economy. Motion mistaken for progress. The big money in your house isn't in the pennies you chase, it's in the recurring charges you've stopped looking at. And this habit goes straight for those. And I'll admit the honest limit of it too, because there is one. This notebook will not lower a bill that is simply fair. If you're paying an honest price for honest service, no amount of writing it down makes it cheaper. What the notebook does is catch what's wrong, what's drifting, what's doubled, what you forgot. It catches the error and the creep. It can't argue down an honest number, and I won't pretend it can. And here's the one caution I will not skip, because I've seen it bite good people. If you go and rip out your autopay in a fit of righteousness, and then you forget to pay the bill yourself, that late fee will cost you more than the drift ever did. So don't kill autopay blind. Watch it. There's a difference between letting a thing run in the dark and letting it run while you keep one eye on it. Keep the convenience if you need it. Just stop letting it spend your money without your knowledge. Now let me widen this out, because by now you can feel that we were never really talking about a phone bill. We were talking about something bigger and harder and truer. There's a thing that happens to people, and it happened to half the families I watched. Over that counter, they confused comfort with security. They had the nice things, the smooth, auto-paid life, where no number ever troubled them, and they felt safe, and they were not safe, because comfort is not security, and it never was. Convenience is not freedom. Convenience is very often the exact price you pay to be drifted in the dark. And looking prosperous, looking like you've got it handled, that is not the same as being unreachable when a hard month comes. The widow, with her notebook, looked like she had less than anyone on the street, and she was the most unreachable of all of them, because nothing happened to her money that she didn't see. That's the dignity in this. Not wealth, not luxury, the plain, quiet, enormous dignity of a person who cannot be quietly overcharged, who opens the mail without dread, whose month is never lost before it starts. So, here is what I want you to do, and it's small enough to start tomorrow. Get one notebook. Give every recurring bill one line. Once a month, by hand, write the number down. Read your own meter where you've got one. And at the back, list every auto-renewal and the date it renews. That's the column my grandmother drew. And it's the one they'd just as soon you skipped. 10 minutes a month, a nickel notebook, the stub of a pencil. That's the whole cost. And what it keeps for you is every quiet increase you'd otherwise pay, without ever noticing, for years and years and years. The old hands knew a thing we let ourselves forget, and it's worth remembering. What you keep has always mattered more than what you earn. And $1 you stop from leaving in the dark is worth more than $1 you have to go out and chase, because the kept dollar cost you nothing but your attention. Spend less than you earn, yes, but watch what you spend, because the watching is the whole secret, and it always was. Now I want to hear from you. And I mean this, leave it in the comments below. What's one bill that crept up on you, quietly, over months or years, before you finally caught it? Tell me what it was. I read them, and there's always one that surprises me. And before you go, let me leave you with the next one, because there's another habit I haven't shown you yet, an older one, and it has nothing to do with bills at all. It has to do with a single drawer in the kitchen, a drawer most folks today don't even keep anymore. And the way a family I knew used that one drawer to cut their grocery bill clean in half without ever clipping a single coupon. But that's for next time. Keep your notebook close, keep your eyes open, and I'll see you back here soon.